commitment of the Nigerian leaders to ensuring their safety, their security, their progress, and eventually their liberty. It is only the proof of this that can reconnect the masses and workers with the government.
We call on federal governments to consider the incorporation of transition fuels such as CNG as an addition to currently available energy. The use of compressed natural gas, which is a lot cheaper, can also be long-term alternative to petrol.
For the outgoing president, the last 8 years of his administration have been eventful as it placed priority on the welfare of the workers.
I encourage the incoming administration to continue to respect workers' rights, imbued with socio-economic development and driven by the 4 pillars of decent work agenda.
A time for the Nigerian workers to celebrate, look at the achievements in the last 1 year, as well as the challenges that have bedeviled the Nigerian workforce. Expectations are that with a new government in sight, the plight of the Nigerian workers will receive some boost. TVC News, Abuja.
President-elect Bola Tinubu has assured Nigerian workers of his incoming administration's commitment to initiating policies that will protect their interests. Tinubu gave the assurance in his message to workers on the occasion of this year's May Day celebration. The president-elect fulfilled his promise of renewed hope, better welfare and working conditions for Nigerian workers, and a living wage for them to have decent lives and provide for their families. He urged them to prepare for tough and hard decisions so that the workers and Nigerians in general can live more abundantly. As the All Progressives Congress APC is yet to make its zoning arrangements known regarding the 10th National Assembly leadership, some concerned members have asked the party to consider the South-South for the Senate President position. At a press briefing in Abuja, the group urged the APC National Working Committee and the Progressives Governors Forum to consider zoning the Senate President to the South-South and the Deputy Senate President to the Northwest. Speaking on behalf of the group, Okwoku Ogeye said both zones contributed massive votes to the victory of the APC in the February election and should be adequately rewarded. They maintained that the duo of Godswill Akpabio and Barao Jibrin are competent ranking senators from the zones who should be considered for the seats.
We wish to remind the leadership of our party that the president-elect is for the Southwest and the vice president-elect is for the Northeast. As such, the Senate President should be zoned to the South-South and the Deputy Senate President to the Northwest, while the Speaker of the House of Representatives and Deputy should be accommodated by the other zones in view of competence and credibility of honorable members. The President-elect needs highly competent Senator Godswill Akpabio for the position of Senate President and Senator Barao Jibrin as Deputy Senate President, respectively.
All right, let's take a short break, and when we return, it will be time to speak with our guest of the day, who is the member representing Bende Federal Constituency of Abia State and spokesperson of the House of Representatives, Benjamin Kalu, for discussion on the battle for the job of the Speaker of the Green Chamber in the 10th National Assembly. Please stay with us. Very much for staying with us. You're still watching Politics Tonight, digging beyond the headlines. And now to our interview with the guest of the day. I'm joined by the member representing Bende Federal Constituency of Abia State and spokesperson of the House of Representatives, Honorable Benjamin Kalu, for discussion on the battle for the job of the Speaker of the Green Chamber in the 10th National Assembly. Honorable Kalu is also the chairman of the House Committee on Media and Public Affairs. Thank you very much for joining us tonight, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Now, first, let me congratulate you on your re-election. I mean, it certainly was a hard-won victory. So tell us about it.
Yeah, the tsunami in the southeast was real. And it appears that though we are on, we underestimated the impact of what Labour was bringing on board. As you know, in the South, it became something that was beyond politics. It was like a religion for the people who felt marginalized for quite some time. Now having their son being popular on the ballot paper, they felt that it was an act of being a deviant if you don't conform to the norm that they form momentarily to elect one of theirs into that position. So everyone was called upon to toe the same line, irrespective of the party. And that made a lot of impact in my region, to the extent that in my state, I was the only one who survived it among the 8 House of Representative members. It was much.
Honorable Kalu, when you say you underestimate... Okay. Please go ahead.
Yes, I lost this at the point. The issue becomes what made us succeed. Why was my case different? It was different because my people were able to go beyond the frenzy, go beyond the new wave to, understand that this representative actually represented indeed. This representative was transparent enough, and because of his representation, this representative showed us accountability, was close to the people, and showed capacity and competence in the discharge of his duties. And they wanted me to be back there. And I really appreciate the people of Ben, the federal constituency, carried away their political positions.
All right, so Honorable Kalu, when you say you underestimated, I would like to know, did you underestimate Peter Obi's impact as a former governor, or you underestimated how far his obedience movement could go?
It wasn't about Peter Obi alone. Yes, he was popular, but there was an introduction of religion into politics. And some of us legislators are working against bringing religion into politics. People were made to understand that the logo of the party of Labour was representing Joseph, the father of Jesus, Mary, the mother of Jesus, and the little child there being Jesus. So that was what they saw. Methodists and Presbyterian, and people were feeling like they were committing sin by not voting where Jesus was being carried by the mother and the father. So it wasn't just about the movement, it was about the message that was spread by the movement, and the party did not see that coming to be able to reverse that. I saw a lot of people singing the same song of Mary, the mother of Jesus, Joseph, the father of Jesus, and Jesus. That is where we are voting. Why they are going to cast votes? And that is introducing the element of religion in politics. And some of us are raising treaties now with the United Nations to make sure that there is elimination of religion in this manner in politics, so that politics will be what it is and religion it is.
Which is the inauguration month for the new administration in the country. Let's hear your view about the process leading to May 29.
The process leading to May 29, you mean, is it about the election, the presidential election?
Please go ahead.
I didn't get your question clearly. Did you say the process leading to May 29?
Yes, the process leading to May 29, the inauguration day.
In terms of the election that was conducted, like I've always said, the spread of APC across the nation fetched them the result. Captured most of the needs. The manifesto of the APC was a well-rounded manifesto that touched on so many areas of needs of Nigerians. And the solution they profiled in that manifesto, if you pick up that document, you will see there are real solutions, not fabricated solutions that was hinged on fake data. And people believe that if they are going to carry out these particular letters in the manifesto to affect and impact positively on the life of Nigerians, it was high time they got voted into office. And the people who voted had this in mind when they were voting our presidential candidate, who has performed, who has a track record. Whose track record spoke for him, whose preparation spoke for him, whose manner of politics, of building people across the Niger, of handshake across the Niger, of establishing his presence across the Niger, gave him what we are all celebrating today. And yes, we are looking up to the event of the 29th of May. And the process has commenced by the current president. I was happy when I saw that the president-elect has moved into the Defense House with the vice president. It's a step in the right direction because they are actually now property of the, of the government. They are children of the government. They belong to government at the moment, so they need to be protected. And the arrangement that is being made by the security agencies to make sure that before the primaries, won the primaries, and also won the presidential election. I am looking forward to a new Nigeria. After May 29, Nigerians will know why we stood by Ashwaju when he started introducing the innovative leadership that Nigeria needs now to disrupt the system, not to destroy the system, but to disrupt in a way that innovation and transformation will be the order of the day. Many will now come to believe why we stood by him from day one till now. So I am looking forward to it, and I'm excited about it. I was the secretary of Tinubu ambassadors in the National Assembly. I was the Secretary General, and we went around the country mobilizing people for the race, and today to lead Nigeria to the place of our expectation.
So, talking about Survivor, and quite interesting, you're the last man standing among Abia APC rep members out of 8 federal constituency. How are you able to, overcome the political tsunami by the Labour Party in the Southeast?
It's all about, when we talk about track record, it's about track record. I've been a local government chairman in the same federal constituency, and the work I did and my manner of leadership, my style of leadership was well documented by the history of our place. I've also served the people when I was a member of the Executive Council of Abia State 2 times. And my record there stood for me. When I had the House of Representatives, from the day one I started working, I moved the first motion of the House of Representatives, known as HM001. That particular motion I moved was given life to by the President of the Federal Republic, that today more than £1 billion project was not diverted, was implemented in my federal constituency. And within the short period of about 3 to 4 years, I was able to attract projects worth over 4 billion naira, and these funds were not diverted anywhere. It was transparently accounted for. My people felt the impact of my representation. So when they send you to represent, you should actually represent them, not yourself. When you represent the people, they have eyes. They see things and they analyze. So when it was the time for reckoning, they were able to present my work in comparison with other people that have been in that position for 12 to 16 years. And the difference was clear. And the reward for good job is more job. And they felt that whether the tsunami was around or not, that Benjamin Kalu should go back to the house to continue from where he stopped. That was how I was able to go against the tsunami. My credibility, my capacity, my competence, I was able to do the job for us.
All right, so all of this attributes you just mentioned clearly shows how well-grounded you are. But then, how do you explain the dismal performance of your party in the Southeast, particularly the presidential election?
Yes, you can say we, Hope Uzodinma, Governor Mahe, we are bringing up all-inclusive strategy, funding same to promote the party in the zone. There were certain individuals who were more interested in their selfish interests. We know that politics is about interest, but that interest should be within the supreme interest of your political party. But many people walked outside the scope of the expectation and the desire of the party. Many of these stakeholders who claim to be superior today didn't work for the party. Some of them for their personal interests, and we are very in supporting other political parties, and that affected our result. And it is important to note as well that the region needed to come together with a strategy that will be able to counter the impact of what Labour was coming with. But that was not done. Some people went on the frolic of their own. Also, the party as a whole needed to invest more in the zone, knowing fully well that Obi was popular and was coming from that southeast zone. That area is supposed to have been declared as a special intervention zone for the party, for more funding, for more seriousness, for more strategy, for more deep diving to make sure that we countered what was coming on board because of the sentiment of the region. And that is where the party needed to do something on what was expected on there to achieve the result that we were looking at. So the integration of all the approach towards achieving result there was not as solid as it's supposed to be. Everyone was fighting, to announce himself that this is what he had been able to achieve, in this last election. The body language of the leaders did not encourage Southeasterners, who were their followers, to stand by APC. Their body language was neither here nor there. When some of us were being shot at, about 100 bullets wasted in my campaign office because we were talking about Asiwaju. Some of them did not come up to condemn it. Some of them did not come up to say, no, let us speak up for Asiwaju. When some of us were giving television interviews 45 days to the election promoting our candidates, some of them were not bold enough to speak specifically for the interests of APC. And there is no how you will expect that your followers, knowing that you have not taken a firm position, will take a firm position on issues that was very sentimental and around the region. So those are some of the things that affected our result there.
All right, so Honorable Kalu, what you're saying is that some APC leaders in the Southeast and in Abia State worked against the presidential candidate of your party. Is that it?
Of course, it's very obvious. It's very obvious. The records are there. It's very, it's very obvious. And the party structure, they are there. The state chairman is there. If there's anybody in doubt, they should go and find out. The Guba candidate of APC is there. You go and find out. There are people you can go. The DSS is there. We have its officers in this country. They have access to information. They know that some people did not stand firmly for our party. If all of us stood firmly, and the people will see our body language, and they will see that we are standing for APC, our followers will come on board. But our followers were neither here nor there because some of the leaders were neither here or there. And so we must tell ourselves the truth. 2027 is going to be here soon. This is the time to start putting strategies in place with a strategic positioning that will make people who believe in the supremacy of the party will be in charge of things to make sure that we would not struggle the same way we struggled to get 25% in this last outing. Something must be done differently, and the clock starts ticking now. Obsolete ideas, obsolete strategies of mobilizing members for votes should be jettisoned. There are innovations on the block now. We must embrace it and engage more and give resources and also responsibilities to those who love this party and those who believe that this party has made impact in the Southeast. I, for one, in the federal constituency, the president of this country, the presidency as a whole, they have intervened massively in my local government, in my federal constituency, and my people will always be grateful.
All right. Honorable Kalu, next month is inauguration of the 10th National Assembly, and of course the race for the leadership is on. How will you describe the race?
The race is, this is the first time we are seeing the people, throwing themselves are qualified, to be in this position. But there must be someone that is more qualified than the others, and this can only be, determined in a mix that includes the opinion of the party, the capacity of the individual, the experience, the competence, the participation of this particular individual, and the way that the person believes and understands the national objectives of the coming administration. Because the point must be made that the coming administration is coming with a national objective. In all the sectors of our economy, you need a speaker that understands what they want to drive home. And then a speaker that understands that though we are three arms of government, we are one government. So the national objective of the executive should be the national objective of the legislature. And the legislature must be able to help the executive, to achieve those national objectives, although not excluding and undermining the borderlines of the doctrine of separation of power. So the activity that has been stimulated by this longing to become the Speaker of the House is actually healthy in the sense that it is expected in any democracy that happens. But having said that, in every advanced democracy, the ruling party that has the majority of membership in the House of Representatives always have a role to play in determining how the architecture of government in the tenure will be structured. And that architecture of government will be structured in a manner that will help the party achieve the national objective I just mentioned. So, in doing so, the formation of government from the executive to the legislature becomes a thing of concern for the party. I don't envy them now. I don't envy the national chairman. Neither do I envy the National Working Committee. I don't envy the President-elect, because the issue remains that they have to consider a lot of indicators in taking this decision. Where each of them looks very good and acceptable, there must be one that must be the best. And it is their duty to determine that. And some of us who believe in the supremacy of the party, we are waiting for them to say, in this design of the architecture of government, this particular position goes to this zone. This one goes to this zone. And then once we get that cleared, we will be able to know we are party loyalists and we are waiting for the party to point to the right direction. And if it is democratically done and fairly done, definitely we are going to go with the party. But if it's not done in line with democracy, I'm sure there will be gaps that some of us would like to be, the field. But I believe in the party that they will give us a guideline soon, and some of us will continue on with the party. Because you see, if you abandon your party, how are you going to be able to work with them thereafter to achieve the national objective they have set out in the direction from the party? And believe that the party, after the election, will continue the tripartite arrangement we put in place between the executive, the legislature, and the leadership of the party to meet periodically to be able to determine the policy directions of issues affecting Nigerians. So we are waiting for the party to point in the right direction, and when they do, definitely Nigerians will, if it favors the Southeast, certainly some of us are going to pursue our aspiration more forcefully than we have done.
All right, you're still watching Politics Tonight, and tonight you're focusing on the battle for the job of House of Representatives Speaker with Honorable Benjamin Kalu. We'll take a break now, and I'll be right back. Please stay with us. Constituency and spokesperson of the House, and we're focusing on the battle for the job of House of Representatives Speaker in the 10th National Assembly. All right, Honorable Kalu, now, you know, from all we've seen and the kind of contenders who have shown interest in this race, and of course, just like you have also said, all of you are qualified, of course, and it promises to be, you know, a tough race. Tell me, why did you throw your hat in the ring?
Thank you very much. I think the question should be, what are the employers looking for? You know, the Nigerian people, the citizens, are the owners of this job. And I believe in what I call the of Nigeria job. There are certain criteria that must be specified by the employers. If I'm in my private business, maybe I'm the boss. But in the politics, when it comes to political leadership, the people remains the bosses. And I can assure you the expectation of Nigerians should be what will guide whoever wants to become the next speaker. It's not really why did you throw in your heart into the ring. But having said that, I've taken my time to look at what possibly Nigerians will be looking at in who becomes the next speaker. And I also questioned myself whether I have those qualifications or criteria, and if we're able to meet the demands in their expectation basket. And most of these things has been fully, and also the expectation of Nigerians from the legislature, also in with best practices, global best practices, around legislative procedures and practices. And I have discovered that what Nigerians are possibly looking for at the moment is in line with the mood, with the current mood of the nation, is a speaker that will be diversity sensitive. Because we are in a moment where the diversity of our country, some are seeing it as if it is a disadvantage to us. We need a speaker that will bring out the coloration of our diversity as the beauty of our nation, by being sensitive to our diversity of our diversity. Having said that, it will reflect in the policies that you will support. It will reflect in the laws that you will stand by. Nigeria is looking for a speaker that will have what I call speaker impartiality. Because the gavel is a sacred instrument. It's not a toy. Anybody who is going to handle the gavel must be impartial. Sometimes the direction of the gavel will go against your sentiment, against your emotions, against your religion, against your region. Are you able to allow the gavel go to that direction for the interest of the generality of Nigerians? If yes, then you are impartial. That is one of the things Nigerians are looking for. And I'm also sure that Nigerians are looking for what I describe as parliamentary sovereignty, where the sustainable manner. This particular Ninth Assembly has worked hard in making sure that the independence of this particular legislature, is seen to be independent. But we must enhance that. Though we believe, like I said before, that we are three arms of government, we are one government, but in understanding that we are in one government, we must not jeopardize the borderlines between the mandate, constitutional mandate of the legislature as an arm of government and that of the executive as an arm of government. So the borderline must be respected. So we want a speaker, and I think you do, as a Nigerian, want a speaker that will be able to make sure that the resolutions coming out from the House of Representatives, the bills coming out from the House of Representatives, are those ones that must be respected. And in doing so, another thing that Nigerians are looking for is a speaker that will be interested in building a house, that will believe in the capacity, the competence, the credibility of the particular house under the leadership of the speaker. What that does is that it drives more confidence in the mind of Nigerians to begin to understand the workings of this almost most misunderstood arm of government. So by the time we show transparency, we show credibility, institutional trust will be built, and we need that actually for people to work with us as the fulcrum of our democracy. Having said that, also I believe that one of the things Nigerians are looking for is a speaker that will come on board and do what I call a balancing of inequalities. There are various levels of inequality. The members, old members, new members, the gender balancing in the House, and also gender balancing in participation in our democracy. We need a speaker that will come on board, and one of his first targets should be to question those bills that we sent to Mr. President that were turned back, were borders on gender inclusion. What do we do about them? Why were they turned back? Is there any way to restructure them to be fit for purpose? That's the kind of speaker we'll be looking for. We're looking for a speaker because I'm a Nigerian and you are a Nigerian. I believe we are looking for a speaker that is going to be bringing on board what I call transformative legislative innovations and interventions. The administration of Right Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila has done a lot in that direction. But a speaker that is coming must be able to sustain that. And when you hear of legislative diplomacy, it was not existing before he came. We have used that to resolve some local problems and as well as global problems. I travel with the speaker around the world on managing issues with legislative diplomacy. And there are other innovations that we will be bringing on board, when we come on board. So these are some of the things I've seen, and that is making me to, throw my heart in the ring, because we don't want a speaker that will come in and will glory in wearing a boxing glove to fight the executive as the only way of showing efficiency. You can show parliamentary efficiency through sound laws that you make, through motions that affect the urgent needs of Nigerians, not by wearing boxing gloves. The more you fight, the more credible you are considered to be as a legislator. No, that would distract the executive. What is making me throw my heart in the ring?
Well said, but going back to the reasons you gave for your party's poor performance in the Southeast and in Abia State, don't you think this will work against you?
Not at all. It's not going to work against me. What the administration is looking for is a party man that believes in the party. And if you come to Southeast and you're looking for party men that believes in the party, Benjamin Okezie Kalu, is one of them. And the party knows that, as well as the president-elect knows that, because I started working with him long before this time, and I share a personal relationship with him, so he can. He's a man who calls me on my birthdays to pray for me. That's to tell you how close I am with the president-elect, and they know the competence is there, and they know that the southeastern lawmakers who actually join in constitutional amendment by sponsoring bills that borders on unbundling railway, like Dr. Kalu did, the Senate from Abia North, like I did for to unbundle correctional services from the exclusive list to the concurrent list. So this is the body language of the Eastern people who are saying, we want this devolution of powers. we want innovations and reforms in government, and it is in tandem with what the government is speaking about. Why they will not be looking at what you just mentioned now is that the party is searching for men of capacity, men who have merit, men who will be able to stand shoulder with other House of Representatives speakers around the world and make the government proud. Men who understand national policies and how to structure them and back them up with laws. So region alone will not, and the performance in the last election will not be what will determine how that decision flows. Because you see, the truth remains that other states in the southeast where APC performed well, they had governor. Ebonyi had governor, and that's why most of their House of Rep members came out. Imo State has governor of APC. My election in 2019, I had no governor and I won. And my election in 2023, I had no APC governor in Abia State and I won. So if there's any magic I did in showing party loyalty and bringing back the trophy, my loyalty should be rewarded to ensure and inspire rewarded. So I don't think party will be going into that. Party want to position a new strategic positioning, political leadership positioning in the Southeast that will cushion the impact of what happened in the last election from happening in the next election. And if the party is looking for a gentleman that will bridge the gap between the old and the new, since we are preaching not too young to run, this is the time to practicalize it. Because I am the bridge between the old and the young, and I still have the energy that will make us capture the Southeast, first by giving them the dividends of democracy, and then by mopping up a whole lot of them to come on board this great wagon that is going to be driven by my own great leader, Asuwaju, who will lead Nigeria to the right. I will make sure that what happened to us in the last election will never happen to us again in the Southeast.
All right. Having said that, Honorable Kalu, rumors are already flying around about the likely direction the party may take. Now, what happens if the zoning does not favor Southeast?
It is expected in political party participation that a man who wants to present himself for political leadership is not fixated on his personal interests. The party is supreme. The view of the party is supreme. Unless we'll get to that level, we are not playing party politics. I played politics in ANC in South Africa, and I saw how they reverence their party in ANC. So my party, APC here, I believe in the supremacy of that party. If I wear boxing glove and fight my party, but there must be something else that is due for my people. Because if presidency is not due to us, if Senate president is not due to us, and you tell us speakership is not due to us, then something else, maybe the deputy speaker, will be due to us. If the party says, Benjamin Kalu, come and go for deputy speakership, I am not going to be arrogant and say I'm going to test my popularity. I will go with the party. But I am standing to be counted, and Southeast must be in the equation. If we remove Southeast totally from the equation, that is when we will contest it. But I know in the wisdom of my leadership, my party leadership, both the president-elect and the sitting president, they are fair democratic leaders. They are Democrats. They will make sure that my region will be accommodated. And I will follow the party. I want to say it again, I believe in their judgment.
All right. Great. Now, raised with more than 10 equally cerebral personalities, including a female who incidentally is from your zone, what is your unique selling point, Honorable Kalu?
I just mentioned some of the things I mentioned before with regards to understanding that speaker's impartiality is what I'm bringing on board. I'm bringing on board institutional trust. I'm bringing on board parliamentary sovereignty. I'm bringing on board the act of balancing inequalities. I'm bringing on board, innovation into legislation. Beyond all this, the point must be made that having served as the spokesperson of the House of Representatives, I was exposed to the strength and weakness, opportunities and threats analysis of the House. You cannot defend the house and be the image maker of the house if you don't have a sound knowledge of the workings of the house. And I leave you to be the judge of how I have defended and projected and protected the image of the 9th House of Representatives. Do your comparative analysis. If my interventions have been knowledge-based, it has been based on my, participation in the House, in the committee levels, to make sure that I understand the workings of parliamentary practice and procedure, and that has reflected on how I defended, shielded, projected the image of the National Assembly. I know how to balance the pause among members, member-to-member wranglings. Most of you don't get to hear it because we solved them before they got to the public. The membership to the speaker, to the leadership wranglings, we balanced them before the public got to know it. And I was the strategic tool in managing. I also occupy the office of the chairman of public affairs. I related with the public with regards to public participation in our democracy. I felt the pulse of the nation to understand what is the urgent need of the nation, how to balance it with what the laws of the House rules, the constitution of our country allows us or mandates us to do as members of the House of Representatives. So that competence that had been gotten through participatory observation, serious involvement. I projected, I sponsored 43 bills and became the highest sponsor of bills among the new members that came in my tenure. I've also done a couple of, 20, more than that, motions. And these are all important, interventions that are brought to the House based on my understanding of the House. But to crown it all, we are talking about lawmaking here. In the mix, I am a lawyer. I'm a practicing lawyer, trained well in Nigeria, not in Toronto. So I understand our laws, the laws of Federation of Nigeria, the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, what guides our law, what is expected in our law. And I will be a strategic tool in making sure that the quality of laws that will come out of the parliament will be that will impress every man or woman who calls himself a citizen of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Our bills will not be thrown back at us because they will be pruned with the eyes of the law. So that is an advantage that I have over some of these people who are coming about.
Okay, now still talking about Mariam Onoha, that's the only female contestant, incidentally, who is also from your zone. I know she has appealed to all the men in the race to step down for her in the spirit of equity, gender balancing, and fairness. Will you be doing that?
Okay, men in the race, we are having a meeting, and at the end of that meeting, if the resolution is that we'll step down for the only woman that is there, definitely I will not be odd one out.
Okay. Now, you also said it is imperative for the APC to zone the speakership to the southeast because the zone has never produced a speaker of House of Reps. Is this enough? Is this reason tangible enough?
You know, when we talk about national cohesion, national cohesion is gotten through national loyalty. Okay, and national loyalty is inspired by giving the sense of belonging and inclusion to the various, regions of the country. And then if you come to a particular region for 40 years, not 4 years, 4 years, 4 decades, none from that region has gotten the privilege of holding the gavel. It calls for an immediate review by the decision makers. 40 years is long enough for our people to sit on that seat. But I have said that beyond the time of
But the Southeast is also laying claims, yes. Honorable Kalu, the Southeast is also laying claims to the Senate presidency. Do you see this as precarious for the zone, pursuing the two at the same time?
No, we have bicameral system of government in this country. And there are rights that exist in both chambers. There are opportunities that exist. in both chambers. And if there are Southeasterners in each chamber, they must announce their presence. Because a good hunter from Southeast who is going to hunt will be a bad hunter if he goes with only one spear, one arrow, one machete. It is always good to go with two. Should in case one fails in securing the target, the other one becomes useful. We might have option A and option B. And I can assure you, among these two options, one must come down to Southeast. And anyone that comes to us will be glad. So there is nothing that is going to be precarious. It's just that every man that is in the chamber has a right to express his ambition. And if the zone gets one and loses one, competent, that we have capacity enough, that we have integrity and credibility enough to handle, let the party give to us. But they cannot deny us both of them. One must come back home.
All right, so quickly before we go, other core issues in the race to the speakership is experience and knowledge. How do you rate your chances against the likes of Deputy Speaker Ahmed Wase, House Leader Alhassan Doguwa, Yusuf Gagdi, and Aliyu Betara?
That is exactly the question I was asked when I became the spokesperson of the House of Representatives. They said they have never had a first-time member be the spokesperson of the House because it's a position reserved for the very experienced members, ranking members of the House. It's a position reserved for those who are knowledgeable about the practices and procedure of the Parliament. But let me tell Nigerians, I took 17 years to prepare myself to come to the House. And I submitted myself once I got my tickets from my party, not the election. Immediately after the I became a candidate, I submitted myself to be mentored by one of the best hands in the legislature, and that is Right Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila. I humbly submitted myself. I said, I want you to mentor me as a senior parliamentarian. And what you see today in my number of bills, where as a result is I have mastered the role, that I have gotten to the point where I am not deficit of experience of the working of the Parliament. Why so many people were rushing to him for other benefits for their constituencies? I was picking his brain on a daily basis, and I was rightly mentored. The exposure locally and globally was also to prepare me. I can assure you, we are coming on board, and it's not about the age in the Parliament. It's about how participatory you have been in the Parliament. Some people have stayed there 16 years, but they don't know what happens in the Parliament.
Sadly, we're out of time, but I've been speaking with Honorable Benjamin Kalu, a member representing Bende Federal Constituency of Abia State and spokesperson of the House. Thank you very much for finding time to be on the program tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. And thank you very much for watching. That marks the end of today's episode of Politics Tonight, but the conversation continues from here. Get in touch with us on Twitter at TVC News NG and at Olajumoke using the hashtag Politics Tonight. We're also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I am Olajumoke Olatuji. Goodbye.
Itchy, greasy